chicken and waffles. What are we gonna do next?
We are going to doctor up some Texas honey.
All right.
With a little bit of Texas lavender.
Texas lavender.
Texas lavender. All right. So
I heard a little That's what I said.
Yeah, most folks don't think about lavender for culinary use, but it really adds like a floral kind of development of flavor. And to make it easier for flavoring this, rather than just putting the lavender in, which you're going to bite into, we're going to put it into a little tea bag. So if you'll sprinkle some of that in for me.
Sure. How much of that do you want?
That's good right there, about a tablespoon.
You can buy this at the grocery store. Yes?
You could probably buy it at the grocery store. I think you really need to go down to Chappell Hill, though.
Right. So speaking of lavender, we recently took a trip to Brenham, Washington County, and we went to an amazing place called the Chappell Hill Lavender Farm and met an amazing lady named Debbie. It's a great visit. Y'all take a look. How did you get to this area and how did you get into lavender farming?
We moved here basically to get out of the city. It wasn't something that we had in mind when we came up here, but once we moved out here, it was so beautiful, and with the rolling terrain, we knew we wanted to do something with the property. It's been quite a journey, and we've learned a lot along the way, but we really love it. The best part about it is just being out here, and it's just so peaceful, but the people that come out here are a big part of it.
What are they coming out for?
Primarily to see the lavender, because it's just not something that you typically see in Texas.
True.
Most of the people that come out have never been in a situation where they were around lavender or they saw lavender. Of course, the prime thing is if it's blooming, they love it because then they get to actually see it and they get to cut it. There are some lavenders that are a little sweeter. Royal Velvet, it's a head coat. It's a darker purple. Those are a little bit milder and a little sweeter, and I prefer to cook with those varieties. But these are great because the oil content in them is good for the other items, you know, the bath and body products.
Any plan to add any other herbs or grow anything else?
You know, we do have blackberries that we've added, and dewberries, and peach, persimmon, fig, and pear trees.
Wow.
So yes, we're expanding in that area because when the lavender isn't blooming, we'd like to have other things for people to do when they come out.
Right.
And we're trying to kind of, you know, space that out so that there's always something for someone to do. And you know, when we send people out into the field with the baskets and the cutters, we just ask them to cut the lavender right, you know, kind of at the top of the plant, you know, not into the bush.
Oh, really?
And then they get these really nice long stems. And the reason that you're seeing these little round mounds instead of these long rows is that we have such a high humidity here and a lot of rainfall. They have to have airflow around them to dry out. Otherwise, they develop a root fungus and they don't last as long.
Because like in the south of France, I mean, it's just solid.
And they're solid rows. And there are some questions that people have when they come up, like, where are the rows of lavender, you know? And then, you know, we have to explain that this is why we have them separated.
I've never seen a lavender farm, and I didn't know you could eat lavender.
I know. I
mean,
know.
crazy.
And yeah, you don't think about it necessarily for eating, but it adds just real subtle. Like when y'all taste it here in this dish and that honey, it's not going to be overwhelming, but that's also because we're using culinary lavender, which is not what Debbie grows there. She grows this stuff for like potpourri
That you put in your lingerie drawer, right?
Right,
Yeah.
guys?
But have you ever eaten it?
Not out of the lingerie drawer, that's just awkward.
Well, not that one, you know what I mean.
So we're infusing that flavor of the lavender into our Texas honey.
Okay.
We're just gonna take that to a low heat for about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll pull that little sachet, that little tea bag out, and now it's gonna be flavored, and that's something we could actually use for multiple uses.
Good.
Pretty
well,
cool, huh?
I'm happy to try something new.
And if you don't wanna dirty up your pot or your pan, head to Debbie's, because she sells lavender infused honey there in a cute little bear shape. Yeah, that's an Amy size right there. Okay, so we're gonna fry up our chicken. In terms of our timing, which y'all know, that's what I really like to focus on when we're having like a brunch. You have a lot of people over.
Right.
You don't want to be doing too much stuff at the last minute. Chicken can be fried and held for a good amount of time and then flash back in the oven. Flashing, culinary term for just putting it in at high heat to get it hot on the outside and all the way through to get it crispy again, and then we just serve it, you know, throw it in 5 minutes before we're ready to serve it.
All righty.
Okay, so let's get ready to fry.
Okay.
You know my trick on this one, right?
Yeah, you put this wooden stick in there, and if it starts boiling, it within 10 seconds.
5 would be ideal. 10 seconds would be a little bit low.
Okay.
The other thing that I did find out recently, because it just wasn't working, I had this oil that was smoking. If you do it too much with the same wooden utensil, you've actually really heat up all the moisture that was in there. It won't continue to work.
Oh, so you have to get a new utensil every time?
Or wash it.
Oh.
So anyhow, you ready to fry?
I'd like to get a new one. Okay, here we go. I love using a cast iron skillet. Who has one of these at home? Oh, yeah.
Yes, well seasoned, hopefully.
Yes. And if you have one from your grandma like I do, it's even better.
And actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Amy, because this cast iron skillet was not properly taken care of after the last time it was used. By frying in it, it's going to bring it back to its original healthy state. So that's a good way to fix it without having to try and clean it.
Can you smell the goodness?
I can.
Oh, yeah. Chicken and waffles. Stay with us. We'll be right back.